I found out that external validation don't lead me now. The validation from God that I'm being obedient, that I'm walking in His purpose, that He gave to me means more to me right now than anything.
Yo, what up? It's your man Cross, aka Mr. Dean, and once again, you're listening to the Man Up Club Presents on Holy Culture Radio. Y'all know what we do. Y'all know what we about. Giving a voice to young black males across America. Man Up Club is a mentor leadership organization for young black males between the ages of 13 and 24. We mentor in 4 different areas, which is life skills, social skills, academic discipline, and civic responsibility, with basically 3 main goals in our organization, which is to get young men to graduate from high school, keep them out of the prison pipeline, and get them to go on to college or have a trade after high school. Hey, listen, I got a special guest here that I'm excited to talk to because he's in the same field that I'm in the same city that I'm in the same state. We work in some of the same communities, and we just on the grind, you know what I'm saying, looking to empower these young people, raise up the culture, you know what I'm saying, empower them with faith and the whole 9 yards. Yo, say what's up to my man, JP.
What's up, man? Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Blessed.
Good, man. I'm excited to connect with you, man, because we ran into each other, you know, in a couple of different spots,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, we kind of run in some of the same circles, kind of working in some of the same areas with young people, man. I like the name of your organization. I got a boy down in Memphis, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
His name is Mr. Dale. Mr. Dale is he's like a pioneer of Christian hip hop music down in the Tennessee area. But anyway, his whole brand was at Hope Dealer, and he was like a former drug dealer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know he was about his business, and man, so when I saw Minnesota Hope Dealer, and that was your organization, man, I was excited to know about it. Tell me a little bit about how'd you come up with that name, Hope Dealer?
Is kind of the same pretense as he came up with.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm an ex drug dealer and gangbanger. First of all, I just want to say, man, I'm nothing without God.
I feel it.
In my life. I got to say that before I say anything.
Mm.
But it's an organization that I started, man, to try to help people who experience an addiction and homelessness. And based on my own experience, 7 years ago, I was a person who experienced addiction and homelessness as well.
Mm.
So I think it's 7 years ago, 2018.
Okay.
I was homeless 5 years before 2018. So 5 years I was pretty much living on the street, living on people's couches, sleeping on trains, people's back porches, under people's porches. So
Wow.
yeah. So things got pretty dark for me. I guess when I got that call from God, that was what I've been through. Pretty much became my purpose. So I started Minnesota Hope Dealers when I was in college.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yep.
I want to unpack some of that. So
Okay.
tell me how you grew up. Like, I just want to kind of know your background or what have you. And
Yeah. Okay. I'm originally from Chicago. Pretty much was out in not really homeless at that part, but a street person out in the streets, gang banging. I started selling drugs at the age of 16. So we had different programs before when we was younger. There's a couple of programs that after school programs that we attended, and we didn't want to be like the people out in the street. We used to wear a smoking stinks button and talk about our aunties and uncles who smoke. You shouldn't be smoking.
yeah.
Playing basketball. And then all of a sudden, I was a part of probably about like 2-3 basketball teams when I was younger. Keep us off the street. We did, activities and stuff and stuff like that. Like, had a place to go after school. And then they shut those programs down.
Mm.
I'm guessing due to funding. I didn't, I kind of know a little bit about that now. But we was wondering, like, what happened. So we pretty much ended up out in the streets playing basketball in the parks where people were selling drugs at. So, that's pretty much what we got involved with.
Did you so when you were younger,
Yeah.
did you grow up like in a 2-parent home, single parent home? Did you have a relationship, with your father? Like, what was that like growing up for you?
I think I probably seen my father like twice in my life. I didn't have too much a relationship with him. I lived in a single parent home, my mom, and we started off in a studio apartment. So eating bologna from the bottom of the stove type of thing.
I feel it.
Yeah. So we was pretty much grew up in poverty, man, and started off in a studio apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how you feel about that? I mean, 80% of the guys that are in the Man Up Club are fatherless, and I'm the same way. I'm a
Yeah.
product of it. Like I didn't know my dad.
It was
How did that affect you though?
it affected me negatively because when it came down to it, my mom was working a lot, trying to make ends meet and wasn't making too much money. So it was at some point in my life, man, when I was in the house and I felt neglected. I didn't feel the love, and I was like a key latch kid and stuff like that. So that's pretty much like how I got involved in the streets. I didn't feel like at a certain point I had a resentment towards my mom
Mm.
because I didn't know exactly what happened with my father and our family. Just everything. Like why do we have to live in poverty? Why all these people dying in the street? It's just like it kind of felt unfair.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much I just felt neglected. So I with love and like the negativity started. The only time I got any type of attention is if I did something wrong.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so and it seems like that's pretty much what it led to, like the reward and punishment thing. I started acting out, and I didn't feel loved in the house because I felt like my mom didn't take the time out to, like didn't come to my basketball games or stuff like that. Like she didn't take the time out, but she took the time out to come to the school when the teacher said I did something bad.
Mm.
So I kind of revolved around that. As I think about my life now, I kind of revolved around that because that's the attention that I had received.
Yeah, I think that's real interesting, and I can relate to that because my mom she didn't come to any of my games and things, when I was coming up, and I didn't resent her for that because she was just always working all the time, and but not telling when I would ask about my dad, not having full disclosure. And
And
not telling me all the,
that's
everything
exactly
that I
yeah.
really need to know or
Right.
would like to know. And I
Right.
think she done it from the perspective of thinking, if I don't give you this information, I'm protecting you, which had an adverse effect because it was like, no, I would prefer, and I couldn't articulate it to her at the time, but my preference would have been to know the good, the bad, the ugly. At least I can have a point of reference.
Exactly, and that's where the resentment had came from, right? It didn't come from the games or anything like that. It's just like but it did come from the games because I seen everybody parents there, everybody
Mm-hmm.
mom there, even somebody drunk uncle was there. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right, right,
right,
right.
so I'm like, man, this drunk uncle there, my mom can't come.
Right.
And she told me she'd come, and I'm looking for her in the stands, and that and the fact that when I asked about my dad, it was it was like it was a big secret, sort of like what you said. So
Mm-hmm.
like I would love to know exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, I really don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But I would love to just know what happened. Like why did he stop seeing me? He came and got me a couple times. Stayed in a different state. Came and got me a couple times when I was like around 3 or 5 or something like that. And after that was the last time I seen him. So
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So it's like too young to remember, to the point where you can really draw from that experience. I think it's interesting how mothers think that they're protecting you, but that a lot of times that has an adverse effect on you, and then you start to formulate these thoughts and these negative emotions or what have you, and then you're still looking for that affirmation,
Right.
that male connection. And what I've been observing in our culture
Mm.
is that a lot of people, especially the young people and the young men that I mentor, they're almost starting to think it's normal, man, not to have a father in the home or to have a father in your life. I think that's such a tragedy.
It is, man. It is. It definitely is. Just like that, I crave that male connection, and I think that's why I went towards the street.
Mm.
Because when we was in the basketball court, those dudes, I had holes in my shoes, and those dudes had money, and
Yeah.
sending us to the store and keep the change, young blood,
Yeah.
that type of stuff, and they had on nice shoes and nice cars and girls, all that different type of stuff that I'm just watching.
Mhm.
And it was just a matter of time before, I was like, hey man, I want to be down type of thing. Because that attention is what I crave. It was just something that I craved. It's just like the male attention, like you
Mhm.
said. Hey man, I see you out there playing ball, man. Good job, man. You doing this, you doing this. Hey, go to the store and give me this, and give me a 20, and he get something for like $3 and tell me to keep the change. Something like, oh, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Just like stuff like that, and I was probably being lured in, but in the same token, it was just like I never knew what love felt like.
Yeah.
So and that's why I gravitated toward the street because of that male attention that I was looking for.
Why do you think that? Because what you're saying is so prevalent across the country, especially in urban communities and impoverished communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why do you think that the people who don't have your best interests at heart appears to be the ones that always show a high level of interest?
Well, is because I think it's an agenda. I think it's something that they're looking for us to do. It's almost sort of like grooming type of thing. So it looks good, and this is what. But we have to also think about what did that other person go through? Pretty much the same thing I went through, or pretty much the same thing we all went through. They had no father at home. This is the way that his big homies or whatever taught him, and this is what he's into now, and they probably use him in the same exact way. So I think it's passed down, from like generation to generation.
So they got empathy and they can understand the struggle, and they actually looking for the same thing that they didn't have. It's almost like for a parable. It's almost like the blind leading the blind.
Exactly what it is.
It's your man, Mr. Dean. You listen to the Man Up Club presents on Holy Culture Radio. I'm here with my man JP from Hope Dealers. Man, we gonna get back into it. So to me, man, if when I say it feels like the blind is leading the blind, it's like fellas in the street, they have a sense of empathy because they like you said, they've been through the same thing or they're going through the same thing and they know what they need. But at the end of the day, they don't have an end game. When they pull you in, it's really no end game. It's like you just a part of the journey and y'all walking together, but it's not like they're necessarily leading you into anything, in particular.
But that's what I was saying, man. There's a lot of stuff in the streets, man. It revolves around money. It
Mm-hmm.
revolves around somebody getting something for something. So it's like, hey, okay, if I can bring this little dude in and be a part of my team, then we can, man, we probably can make some money. He can help us out or be on our team and make some money, so I won't have to do much of the work.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think that's what happens a lot in our culture as far as like the young people. You know what I mean? It's again, it's almost like a grooming. They tell you the game, okay, this, and this. I wasn't the best drug dealer at 16, but there's a lot of times where um, they taught me what they felt that I needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it wasn't like, hey man, do this and go to school and go to this and go to that, right? It was this. Oh, hold on, hey, check it out. You can be a part of the team. Bam, we'll bless you in, be a part of the team, and you can sell drugs for us, and you can get your money, and you can make us some money.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you get 5 people like that, 6 people like that. People don't have to do the work, and I think it's an agenda.
Mm-hmm.
It's an agenda of what's happening, and it's a sense of false love.
So you a young boy, you out there, you vulnerable. You get approached by gangs, or did you approach the gang? That's the first thought or question or what have you. But then, how did you feel about that going into it? Like, did you have a sense of fear, about getting blessed in, or whatever, or just the possibility or the potentials of things that you might have to do to be a part, or how was that journey?
No, it was again, it was like it felt like somebody was paying attention to me. It felt like it felt like love at the time. It felt like, hey man, I mattered. I mattered to somebody. Hey man, it's good to see you, man. Blah blah blah. And it kind of, it kind of formed like a family.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time it felt like a family. It was a family of people. We all doing the same thing and this and this and this. We're looking out for each other. and it was family, and I think that it fed into what I was craving, what I felt like I needed, right?
Yeah.
You know, hugs, the money, looking out for us, the protection, all this different type of stuff, right?
Hmm.
It felt like it was a form of love.
When you say that, that's what a lot of people crave. They crave the attention. They crave the affirmation. They crave the love. They crave the sense of belonging and crave the sense of family, which is all of these good things. Which is what I'm hearing you say, that was your main focus and where you locked in. But anytime you selling dope, there's always, you know, the negative aspects of that come with that come with the whole life,
Mm.
the fear factor, of things that you may have to engage in or you may get caught up in. And so, did you just block all of that out? Like, yo, for these great things and these tangibles that I'm receiving, I'm willing to just roll the dice on whatever. I mean,
Uh,
the point I'm making is like, it ain't like selling dope is. It's like, you know what I'm saying, selling candy.
it was a long road. You talking about 16? I'm 48 now.
Yeah.
So 16, and I pretty much was in the game up until like I was 36 or something, 38.
Wow. Yeah.
So I've been to prison like 3 times.
Okay.
I've probably been arrested, man, about 200 times. Been in Cook County over 10 times. I can't even count. You know what I mean? So it's like I've been getting arrested since I was 17.
Wow.
So just a lot of stuff that happened, man. Police done beat us up, and all different type of stuff, man. And, a lot of stuff happened during that period of time.
No fear of being murdered.
It was a couple times. It's a lot of times where I prayed, man, before I even got off the porch, like, God, just make sure I get home tonight. Because it's not a chance. It's a chance. We knew the chances of not making it home.
Yeah.
So once in the beginning it might with some fear, but once you like involved in a lifestyle, man, the fear kind of subsides a little bit, and
Got you.
you become desensitized to a lot of things, especially like death and murder and violence and stuff like that. Like we see it every day. Gunshots was our lullaby. You know what I mean? That's how we went to sleep at night. And it was like we went to parties and different events where they shooting at, and we'll go back next Friday. You know what I
Right,
mean? So
right.
because it's something that we in and living in. So we dodged a lot of bullets, we dodged a lot of people. It was just stuff that we was like involved in the midst of it. So we was taught like to have no fear, about different things. But in all actuality, it was a little fear there, but it became so normal, that it was something that we was living in.
Yeah.
It was times, man, where we used to sit on the roof, me and my homies, man, at the night of selling drugs or something, and just like, man, just like be open with each other, just like, man, like why God placed us in this war zone.
That's real.
Why God placed us here, man. Why, like, and just sit there and we don't supposed to cry, right? But have tears rolling down our face, because this is where we feel like our end game is, right? This is where we feel like we're going to die in, So it's like, man, why did God place us here? Why did we have to grow up like this? And we see people on TV, Mr. Belvedere,
You feel me?
living comfortably, and people have, but just stuff like that, and like we have to kick and scratch for like crumbs, and what I mean, just like, and become like the worst of the worst, so to speak.
Hmm.
And we wonder, like, why was we dealt this hand? Why was we dealt this hand in life? And we a couple of us, and just being open and honest with each other, like, even to the point, man, we get drunk, and I was drinking every day for like 25 years, maybe more like 30. Like every single day, like nonstop every single day. And we get drunk and cry. I was like, man, why we don't know our daddy? Just stuff like that, like stuff that it happens every blue moon, but it happens.
Right.
These are the realistic things of stuff that we was going through. and like wondering why, you know.
I'm so glad you unpacked that, and that's what I was going for, because you outside, you living this real life, you putting yourself in real danger,
Mm.
you taking these real chances, and for people on the outside who's looking in, that's all they see, that to just identify you, like they sum you up with whatever it is that you're doing, as opposed to even trying to see who you are. And I hear you saying, hey, we, in the midst of all of the chaos, in the midst of all of the drama, in the midst of being outside, being in the streets, taking the chances, dodging death, at the end of the day, we still have the same feelings and are looking to obtain the same goals and feel the same hurt from the absence of family, from the absence of a father, from the absence of affirmation, and all of that.
Yeah.
That's critical, because we got so many of our young people out there who are feeling the same way.
Mm.
And I believe that you have to be cut a certain kind of way to even reach young people like that. You gotta, I'll speak for us in the Man Up Club. You gotta have some level of street credibility. You have to have some level of spirituality. You feel me? You have to be personable and be able to relate. You have to know the life of young black boys. You feel me?
Mm.
And so, when I'm looking at that and I'm thinking about that's the linchpin right there, where people really have to be able to have those qualities in order to be able to make change and transform the lives of other people. Now, the thing that you said that is really fascinating to me is you talked about how many times you've been in prison and been arrested and all of that. And so normal society, general society, they'd be like, man, ain't no chance for this dude. There's no chance for rehabilitation. And then they would automatically assume that you was institutionalized based on how many times you went in and out of prison. Like, okay, he just can't be outside. Tell me about the transition.
It was assumed. Before I go into the transition, I also want to say this. Like, the times I was telling you about how our father, how he was crying or whatever, all that stuff felt like our fault. It felt like our fault. I was thinking about this when you was talking, but it felt like it was something that we've done, right? It was something that was wrong with us, right? Even the environment that we was built in, where we, our mind state, everything, it just felt like our fault. It felt like we was the reason our families are not together. We was the reason why a lot of this stuff is happening. You know what I mean? It was something that we internalized. So I wanted to say that.
Yeah, well, but why? I want to know the why. Like, because you're young and you're kids.
Because we never really. This seems like deja vu just now. Because it feels like we never really got the answers. Right? Remember what you was saying? What you was saying before?
For sure.
Like, you never really got the answers as to why. So when the effect of that, of us not knowing,
huge,
means that it was something that we've done. That we internalize. It's something that we've done for our dads not to be there. Or, man, is it me? You know what I'm saying? It must be my fault that, because my mom don't want to talk to us about it, it must be my fault. Usually when somebody don't want to talk to me, hey, you know what, man, I don't want to say nothing about it because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Right? So this is right. So this is what we internalize as, man, it must be my fault. It was, man, maybe because I was born. Maybe because I was born, the reason why family not together.
I'm sure a lot of people want to know, as I do, how do you go from being a drug dealer, bro, to being homeless? Because that's a hell of a transition.
Man, listen. In the attempt, right? I'm going to say this, right? I started going to jail, right? I've been to prison in three different states. I started going to jail, and it was like, hey, what's up, youngin? Do this, or whatever the case may be. And then I went back to jail, right? And they's like, what's up, old school? Like, I just kept making stints, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In jail and prisons, and it's like it's a party in Cook County. Hey, what's up, man? What's good? You in here too? You know what I mean? Like it's okay, as we being packed as like sardines and stuff, or getting beat up by the COs and stuff like that. But the thing is that we I ended up coming to Minnesota to try to change my life.
Okay.
Because in Chicago I just couldn't do it. I tried to leave a couple times. That's why I ended up in prisons in other states. But I left Chicago to Minnesota to try to better myself. And I brought the hood with me as I'm bettering myself. Well, I actually got a job, and then I got fired, and I and just internalized it with depression and stuff like that. The only thing I'm good at is selling drugs.
We gonna catch that in a minute, man. You done said a mouthful. It's your man, Mr. Dean. You listening to the Man Up Club Presents on Holy Culture Radio. Yo, what up? It's your man Cross. Hey, you listening to the Man Up Club Presents, where we give a voice to young black males across America. I'm sitting here talking with my man JP from Hope Dealers, Minnesota Hope Dealers, talking about his life, his story, how he came into his organization, and just fascinating and amazing information. And these are the real stories that you need to know. Because when it comes to getting to know black males, a lot of people kind of shy away from that, or they have these preconceived notions and they simply just draw conclusions or what have you. So, man, you talking to me about, being in and out of prison, and this transition from, being a drug dealer to being homeless, and your whole transition, with that. Go ahead and unpack that for me.
Well, again, I came to Minnesota to try to, change my life, man. It was God that did that. I just had to go. Chicago, a lot of people got killed. Majority of my friends got killed. I stopped going to funerals at one point in time. So I just didn't want to be a statistic, man. I just didn't want to die in the street, or just did. I wanted to do something with my life. And came to Minnesota in 2012. I got a job. It took me like 6 months. So I got a job and was working, doing good work and stuff like that. And some stuff happened. I got fired. And it devastated me, just like, and I'm trying to better myself. It just seemed like everywhere I go, and the depression is just stemmed down from how I felt about myself, for the majority of my life. So I took the last check that I had, and I bought some drugs because I felt like that's what I was destined to do. I can't keep a job. I can't do this. It's times where I was in prison, man, and just like crying to myself in my cell, man. Like, damn, I just can't get it right. I don't know what's wrong with me. Praying in my cell, man. God, help me get right. I keep doing this. And the same stuff kept happening. Insanity is what they was called. What they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I just got my last check, man, and started selling weed and stuff like that and whatever. And, it was something that I felt that I was good at, but actually not, because I kept getting the rest. But it's something I felt like I was destined to be. Okay, I can't keep a job. This is what I feel that I'm good at. So that turned into that. Police had raided our house, all different type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was the person, the woman I was with and stuff, got the house raided, and luckily it was unlawful search and seizure type of thing. So I didn't go to prison. And like I said, I had a place to stay all the way up until I started selling meth. So I got up with some people, started selling meth. And a lot of stuff that I was going through, it was chipping away at how I felt about myself. I already didn't have a structure about how I felt about myself, but it just started to it started to deteriorate, because I didn't feel like I came up here to do what I set out to do. All I did was just bring the hood back here, and I felt some type of way about that. So make a long story short, I sniffed the line with somebody that I was selling to. And it was off to the races after that. I never really did drugs or anything like in Chicago. I just drank, probably popped a couple of XC pills or something like that. But come to find out, that's pretty much like methamphetamines too. But I just got into that scene. I see how much money I can make, and I got into that. So like I just started getting more and more. I had a house, a couple cars, all that different type of stuff. Got involved in relationship. Me and her was partners, and At one point in time, I felt like she was cheating and all this different type of stuff, and like I just started doing more drugs. I got arrested, and like I swallowed like an 8 ball or something like that, and it like leaked out into out the bags into my system, and it was all this stuff was a mess, man.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it didn't start off like as an addiction. It just started off like something I was doing.
Got it.
And then when I swallowed that, my tolerance got high, and it was man, everything was pretty much my whole world just crumbled down on me. So lost the house. I had a house, apartment, couple cars, and make a long story short, man, just pretty much we got kicked out. It's just all this different type of stuff started happening.
Yeah.
So I'm using now to stay up. So stay up, meth make you stay up. So I'm using now to stay up so I can sell more drugs. I was still homeless selling drugs too. So I ended up my girl at the time got locked up. So I was out there, doing stuff, messing around with other girls and selling drugs and using with them, and just she came back home, we got kicked out, and now we stand in the car. Yeah.
What's crazy about all of that
Mm.
is what you said in the beginning before that, which is you was praying to God the whole time about changing and transforming your life. Yet you still going through what some people can easily describe as hell. You going through hell. You going, but God is still there with you. He's still connected to you. You still praying, and in the midst of that, you still having faith.
Yeah.
Even though you're going through your trials and tribulations and your struggle, you still believing that God gonna bring you out of this.
It was, what, at some point in time, like I kind of forgot about God during that time, right? Because meth is a dark drug. You know what I'm saying? I was messed up like mentally. I was in a dark place physically, but I was in a dark place mentally. Because it was, they call it the devil's drug.
Okay.
Because it's stuff that make you do, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's probably something already in me or whatever the case may be, but it's just, it was just stuff that, it was just dark. Like it puts you in a totally different realm, right? I didn't come outside unless it was dark outside, and I'm outside and I'm up for like, I'm up for like 2 weeks. I'm up for like 2 weeks just walking around. You know what I'm saying? Like just literally walking the streets, walking around. Once we lost our car, you know what I'm saying? So once we lost our car, and then I think I got locked up or something, and me and her parted ways, and I just was walking around, man, with drugs on me, and just walking for days.
Wow.
Walking. I probably walked for like 5 days, man. Go take a break in Denny's and stuff like that, and I'm just doing drugs. I walked so long, man, my toenail fell off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the boots that I had in.
Yeah,
Like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was dark mentally.
Yeah.
And even the people that I was hanging around with, it was dark because of that. And it was I'm blessed to this day, man. And by the grace of God, man, that I have my mind. That I have my mind to this day, because I did a lot of drugs, man. I did a lot of stuff. I did, a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, and it's a blessing today, man. I don't take that for granted. I think that's one of the greatest gifts that God, besides His grace, that He, my mind is still intact, or that I have some type of connection and relationship with Him too.
Yeah. What is your relationship with God like right now?
Good. I'm working, and I'm working. The thing is, God didn't just give me my mind back, but He also gave me a purpose. I can look back right now because of the relationship that I have with God, and I can see how everything that I've went through had a purpose in my life, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to see that if I didn't have a relationship with God. Remember I told you he was on the roof, and I'm just like, God, why?
Yeah.
I still think about how we felt about that as we sit on the roof and they shooting and you hear somebody screaming, I'm just like dogs barking, and I can just picture the scenario of what we was on. We was on the roof or whatever, and I can see, not only by looking through the past, but by the people that we impact now, on how all that stuff had a reason behind it,
Mm-hmm.
a purpose behind it. Because like you said before, like now I can feel the pain and the hurt that people have who are experiencing homelessness, or don't have a dad, or who's going through mental anguish, or whatever the case may be. Experiencing addiction. Like I can feel people's pain.
Yeah.
Um, and I wouldn't be able to do that if if I didn't have a relationship with God.
Yeah. So, like some people would argue that we live in, like, especially with the next generation, that we're living in a godless culture where, the culture really glorifies things that are polar opposite from God, like sex, money, murder, pride, drugs,
Yeah.
misogyny, all these things that you see in mainstream media.
Mm.
Give me your take, man, on why you think the culture don't profess their faith for God. Like, why are they not more vocal about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously he worked a miracle in your life, and you was at the bottom. You
Yeah.
really got it out the mud.
About
But you give him that credit.
Yeah, because I couldn't because I know that I tried to do it by myself and couldn't.
Mm.
Not one time, but more than a couple times.
Yeah.
Tried to do it myself and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But only by the grace of God that I'm here right now.
Yeah. So then, why is it that the culture don't? Because they caught up in a lot of the not everything that you talked about, but the different aspects of it.
You know why? Because people are afraid of what other people think about them, who are a part of that culture. God told us not to be a part of the world, and that's the reason why. Because if you're a part of the world telling you a lot of different things, man. There's so much programming going on, TV, radio, all this different type of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
People don't confess. It was one time. The reason why I know, right? Because I'm speaking for personal experience. That people ride down the street and like bump music and stuff, right, real loud or whatever. And I was listening. It was one time. This was a while back. I was listening to a cold gospel song, right?
Yeah.
And then I seen my homies and I turned it down because I cared about what they thought about me,
Yeah.
right? And I think people care. People are living externally versus internally, right? Working with God or having a relationship with God have you living internally.
Mm.
A lot of people are living externally because they care about what other people think about them. They care about what they think about them or what they're going to say or how they feel about them versus what you're feeling inside of yourself and being with God.
Mm-hmm.
That's the world, living externally, because people can't even get themselves right because they living externally so much. Kids won't profess their allegiance to God because they care about what the other people are going to say about them. And it's the same way for adults as well. People, and this is the reason why I don't think a lot of people profess their a love for God is because of that reason.
That's deep.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I agree with you, because the thing is, what I've witnessed is that people have like this external persona or posture that they want other people to see, or character, if you will. But then it's like, but when you get by yourself and you have to really deal with yourself, I guess that's the internal part.
Right. But people can't do that. People don't do that. People can't sit with themselves or even sit with their thoughts. This is why people go to sleep with TV on. This is why people are used or cause chaos, right, when it's peace. People say that they're bored, right? I'm bored. Boredom is just a disguise for peace.
Love that.
Right?
So I like how you put that.
Yeah, so people say I'm bored. I don't have anything to do, right? Because they haven't had the ability to sit with themselves. The best part about jail, I guess, is the only good part about jail is that you're forced to sit with your thoughts, right? And this is why you see people come out of jail and they become different, right? Because they was forced to internalize themselves. Right? No TV, no nothing, no this, no that. You forced to sit with your thoughts. People nowadays can't sit with their thoughts or can't sit with themselves or don't want to internalize themselves or not even also not they don't want to even be radically honest with themselves about whatever's going on with them mentally, physically, or spiritually,
Mm.
because people care about what other people think about them, because we as people seek external validation.
Right.
And if we don't seek validation, there's somebody against us, and we don't want that to happen.
Hmm.
This is why the world is can't confess their love or their allegiance to Jesus, because they care about what other people think. They
Hmm.
haven't internalized themselves.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real. And in the midst of all of it, you found a sense of hope,
Yeah,
and so now you got an organization called Minnesota Hope Dealers, which is a thriving organization. I've had the opportunity to sit in a room and hear you actually talk about it, and I was drawn to you just because I love your passion, and your conviction for when you talk about your organization and the work that you do, because I recognize, and I know real recognize real, but I
yeah,
know that it comes from a real place, and I want to get into that, man, and I want to talk about Hope Dealers. It's your man, Mr. Dean, man, aka Cross. You're listening to the Man Up Club on Holy Culture Presents. Yo, it's your man Cross. I'm here with my man JP with Minnesota Hope Dealers. In the midst of everything, man, that you're dealing with, from homelessness to drug dealing to being in prison and the whole nine, man, you still got this glimmer of hope. So Scripture says, like, if you got faith the size of a mustard seed, God can move mountains. And the thing is, that's not predicated or applicable to um, people of the faith or Christians. That's a general universal statement. That's for anybody. That if you have faith, um, you can move mountains. Tell me about the hope you had, man, to transition and to do some, to pivot in your life and help other people and young people and people who was in your situation, who were homeless and who were addicted to drugs and what have you, because you've built a whole organization around everything that you was going through.
yeah, yeah. It was one day, man. I was in the trap house, right? It was like I've been up for like 5 days, right? I was looking in the corner. One side, people was huddling, twisting the bubble, right? And then the other, somebody over here was shooting up, and I'm just like, hurry up, so I can save you some more drugs, right? And then it's funny because like I've been through these scenarios and situations a lot of my life, like I said, for a long time, and this is when I got the call from God. I was homeless at that point in time, and I was using somebody's apartment as a trap house type of thing. And it was sort of like a out of body experience. Um, it was like I came out. I like to say this is the time of my death. That's why I call him. That's why I go by the moniker JP. Because the old me died at that point in time, and I got back into my body, man. I'm looked around. I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I doing? So at that point in time, man, I just I was like I pretty much was done with that, and this is where God started leading me. So I ended up checking myself into a shelter, going to treatment, went to treatment. Got me some mental health stuff going on, mental health worker, therapist, and all that stuff. Ended up graduating treatment in 2019, and then I started going back to school. I went back to school to become a alcohol and drug counselor.
Dope.
So I did, I seen a couple alcohol drug counselors when I was in prison and stuff. I was like, that'd be dope. I know about drugs. So I it's kind of my dream to like go back to school. Like that was one of my dreams that I had. This is the hope, where the hope thing comes in at, because I always had hope that I was going to try to go back to school sometime. I tried to go to college before after I graduated. I did graduate high school. I tried to go to college, and I only graduated high school because I was still selling weed, and everybody, all my homies was there. But and I went to class. But so I went back to school, man. I did something that I always wanted to do, go back to school, and in the midst of me becoming an alcohol and drug counselor, it wasn't fast enough for me.
Mm.
So I sat in the parking lot pretty much and like made the Minnesota Hope Dealers Facebook group to encourage people and stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff that happened in that, but I eventually filed it as a nonprofit and stuff like that. So we just started doing a lot of work within with COVID when COVID happened. So we was like out there on the street, going to each sober house in St. Paul and Minneapolis and stuff, and passing out essential items because they couldn't go anywhere. So we started doing that, and that's kind of like what kicked everything off.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think that's powerful, man. And so, how long have you had your organization?
Since as a nonprofit, 2020.
Okay. And what exactly is it that you all do?
So we help people experience an addiction and homelessness, whatever that entails, man. We help people find housing. Right now, we have peer recovery services for people who's curious about recovery or who's also in recovery to help navigate them through whatever it is that they need to go through. Man, finding their families, birth certificates, whatever the case may be. We also help people in the reentry field who's coming out of incarceration as well. So, because drugs and alcohol is just one or two aspects of what recovery is. People recovering from a lot of things, the street lifestyle. They recovering from domestic abuse. People recovering from gambling or eating disorders or whatever the case may be, right? Recovery is somebody who want to change their lives, who's dealing with stuff that's probably challenging the quality of their life. So we do that. We help people again. We help people with housing, recovery, navigation. We do outreach. We try to reach out to the kids when we can. We got the recovery basketball league going on. So we do events, sober parties, different stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's deep, man.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm amazed by everything you do. I want to go a little deeper.
Okay.
Out of all the things that you've been through in the whole journey and what have you, if your father saw you now, what would you want to hear him say to you?
I guess the phrase that everybody would like to hear that I think is that, hey man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Like that was something that I always wanted to hear. Right? I'm proud of you. I like what you're doing, and I'm proud of you. I found out that external validation don't lead me now. The validation from God that I'm being obedient, that I'm walking in His purpose, that He gave to me means more to me right now than anything. I don't seek external validations. It's nice when people give you a pat on your back, but one of the things that God blessed me with was purpose, a reason for my existence. Especially when I felt like nothing, man. I was nothing. I felt like nothing. I felt like my life didn't matter. I felt suicidal a couple times. I even attempted suicide. So for God to give my life and everything that I've been through, to give it purpose, is something that I never take for granted. That's why I have the passion that I do have, because of everything that I went through, man. I don't want nobody to feel that pain, that I felt, but I also know that God is with us through the midst of struggle, and I couldn't ask for a better life now. Rocking with God, I couldn't ask for a better life now. Right now I don't care what people think about me. I care about what God think about me. I care about His purpose. I'm not perfect, but I do try to walk in obedience, and I do try to walk with integrity, and I do try to also walk beside the people who's hurting, man, woman, child. I try to walk with them because I know what that feels like.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, you basically trying to walk like Jesus, because the people you describe, those are the ones that He walked with, and He says, basically, if you disrespect or harm, the people who are at least in the kingdom of God, then you're doing the same thing to me. And I feel you 100% with where you at. And I appreciate you being transparent and keeping a buck with us, man, because that's what it's really about. That's where the real transformation happens. That's where the real growth happens. And I can relate to it because I have those sleepless nights wondering about purpose. And like you, I thank God that I'm walking in my purpose. I think that a man without purpose is a dangerous place to be. And I think that that's kind of been proven, obviously through your life.
Yeah.
But even mine, because I've had my struggles and temptations and addictions and what have you. For me, I was just addicted to sex and strip clubs.
Yeah.
Couldn't break it. It controlled everything about me. But when you struggling with whatever your addictions are, whatever your issues are, Scripture talks about it being a thorn in your flesh. It's like God says, but at the end of the day, man, my grace is still sufficient enough. I think that me and you are both walking in that very same thing. And oftentimes, when young people are coming up and they have mentors or people they look up to, they don't really, and this was part of the case for me, they don't really have a whole lot of respect for people who always act like they got it together.
Right.
You feel me? But to be able to see a person's scars and to know that they fell down, to know that they was in like you said, a dark place, to be able to share that is the thing that allows, that's the lifeline that people need in order for them to really latch on and believe that they can truly make it through whatever it is that they're going through, man. And so, man, big ups to you for what you're doing. If y'all out there, man, and you're listening, tap in, the Minnesota Hope Dealers with my man JP and his organization. If you're struggling with drug use or homelessness, tap in. Is there a place where they can tap in with you?
They can tap in with me. 705 42nd Avenue North. The Northside Epicenter is where we located at. Or they can also hit us up on the website, www.minnesotahopedealerswithz.org. And can I say something?
Absolutely, do.
When you were saying that, man, it reminded me of the Miles Monroe quote. When a man finds his purpose, a leader is born.
Yes, sir.
And somehow God made us, leaders. But one thing that I am, man, besides anything else, man, if I'm not anything else, I'm servant.
I heard that.
So
I love it. And it's your man, Mr. Dean. Tap in with the Man Up Club at themanupclub.org. Once again, that's themanupclub.org. If you want to support us, we'd love for you to do that. And also make sure y'all tap in the God Flow Hip Hop and Hope Festival coming up on September the 6th here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The address is 515 South Jersey Avenue. We're going to be doing it big, bringing the top Christian hip hop artists from all around the country, man. Tap in with us. Make sure you go get your tickets on Posh. All right.
We also got a hip hop jam coming up.
Okay.
I'm part of the Life Center, ICCM Life Center. I'm part of the ministry there. We have a hip hop jam that's coming up on the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. So the first one is going to be on Broadway and Penn. Broadway and Penn. The next one is on Laurie and Penn, and the other two is over south. One in the parking lot, and the other one in PV Park. So come and join us.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do some work together there.
Yeah.